first question is, where are we in the space industry? What's going on and sort of how are we situated? I'm going to talk to you about a bunch of growth that's happening in the space industry, and so we'll talk a little bit about what's driving that growth. The third question is, why does it matter? i.e., why should anybody in this room care? And the last is bringing that back to Canada. What's happening in Canada right now, and how does it relate to that bigger picture? What we've seen in the last decade in space is a dramatic reduction in the cost of accessing space. And that's changed everything. It's changed how companies behave. It's changed how governments behave. It's changed how the whole approach to innovation is done in the space economy. Space has become big business. It's about a $460 billion a year enterprise right now. 90% of the spacecraft are commercial now. This is a big shift from when it used to be completely government driven. As I mentioned, there's about 90 nations that have the ability to operate in space or are doing things to become ability to operate in space. 186 launches in 2022. That was the graph we saw previously. And that corresponded in 2022 about 2,500 satellites being launched, which is a significant number of satellites compared to the historical numbers. Space touches you every day. A lot of people don't realize that, but it touches you in a lot of different ways. There's the obvious way that if you navigated to get to this talk tonight, you might have used your phone GPS, and that's using GPS the navigation satellites to navigate. If you happen to watch TV, you may be getting a signal that's beamed off of a satellite. If you listen to Sirius XM, you're listening to a satellite broadcast. But there's other less obvious ways as well, that if you're eating fruits and vegetables, those fruits and vegetables may have been grown using precision farming techniques that use space assets in order to do that. If you are using Google Maps and you look on the satellite image to see what's going, what does the layout of this area look like, that's again another application of space. If you're doing banking transactions that require very precise timing, that's an application of space. So you should care, because this will ultimately touch you. It will also ultimately affect your lives. So in 2019, Canada announced it would join the NASA Artemis mission. That's the trip to the moon. And our contribution would be Canadaarm 3. And Canadaarm 3 will be the robotics that go on the Lunar Gateway, which will be the station that will be orbiting the moon. On the commercial side, 2021, MDA went public. We raised about $400 million. So lots of interest in MDA in the space industry. Our satellite systems group is building the next generation of direct-to-device for Apple. For Earth observation, which you guys remember matured next, our geointelligence group is focused on that, primarily in the area of radar imaging. We are building what's called CHORUS, which is the next generation of RadarSat mission. It'll be the 4th generation. It's actually a constellation combining multiple satellites. It's being done 100% commercial. So we've seen it move from RadarSat 1, which was a government mission. RadarSat 2 was a public-private partnership. CHORUS that's being developed now will be a pure commercial mission that MDA is developing. So you've seen that sort of transition happen. And then in space operations, focused on Canadaarm 3. We're building Canadaarm 3 for that gateway we just discussed, but because there's so much other activity happening around mining on the moon, mining asteroids, servicing satellites, doing all these things that people want to do about space infrastructure. And I forgot to mention in Ewan's chart, you'll notice I crossed out exploration and said infrastructure, because it's broader than just exploration. And that's what our robotics and space operations group in Brampton is doing. Importantly, they're going to take the technology from Canadaarm 3 and they're going to commercialize it. And we've already had our first sale to one of the entities that's working on a commercial space station called Axiom. So they're going to be using the Canadian robotics as part of their development of that station.